Okay, good morning. This is going to be done in actual speed. You're going to hear Teresa yelling and carrying on down there. William likes to throw his food lately, and it's getting to be something of an annoyance for her. But anyway, this is the actual speed in which I turned this. Now, the shaft that it was originally in there was a mild steel. I know someone from Krone had commented that they work in Krone and that the stub shaft was a heat-treated shaft. Well, I did the old hammer smack on it, and unfortunately, that shaft was not heat-treated. It was soft. It wasn't hard at all. So I figured it was going to be a mild steel. And I was like, well, I've got some mild steel here. I've got some actual final drive axle or final drive shaft here that goes between the final drives on the old TR70 combine. I have several sections of that stuff, and that would be hard. It should have a nice structure to it. I definitely do not believe that the stub shaft was heat treated. So I have some drive shaft, which is what you're watching me turn right here, that is stainless steel. So I was thinking to myself, I should probably research this stainless steel and see what the properties of this stainless steel is. Now, there's different types of stainless steel, obviously. I have no idea what this particular stainless is, but I just chose 404 stainless steel as a reference to do my research. 404 stainless versus regular carbon mild steel. It's like, okay, I guess that's a good comparison because I don't think that shaft is really that hard. So first thing they want to talk about is the longevity of the shaft itself. What is it going to do for me? In corrosive environments, it will outlast anything because it's stainless steel. It is like, I forget how many times, like 70 times less corrosive than mild steel, which, yes, you can get rust on stainless steel. It's not very common, and it's not very much, but it does happen. So I was like, okay, well, that's not really what I'm worried about. What I'm worried about is the strength of the steel, the mild steel. So 404 stainless steel versus a mild steel shaft. Stainless steel has 4 times the shock tolerance of regular mild steel. So I'm like, well, that's where my issue is. My issue isn't in corrosion. My issue is in shock tolerance. So if this is 4 times better for shock tolerance, then that's the steel for me. Now, I know that this fellow, and I don't know what his name is, but he's kind of arrogant, and I don't think it's on purpose. I just think I just think it's the way that they are. If you know anything about Germans, they're very proud people. They're very proud about their work. They feel that their work is second to none, the best in the world. And I don't know that that's entirely true. I'm from the United States, and I am quite partial to American stuff because, you know what? I'm a proud American, just like he would be a proud German, and I respect him for that. But I did the research on this thing. Now, this shaft broke at the end of where it's turned. If you see where that shelf is, about, I don't know, 3.5 inches down, that's where it broke. Now, the reason that thing broke there is because of shock and the way it was cut. All right, so I'm no machinist, but I do know stress transference. Now, when you have a cut, so it's just like scoring a piece of glass. All right, so if you were to take a 6-inch wide diamond and scratch a piece of glass and then smack it with a hammer, it would break just like anything, just like a regular piece of glass that was never scored. If you take a diamond that is, say, 1/4 inch wide and scratch that down the glass, scoring it, and then smacking it with a hammer, it's still going to break like regular glass. It's like nothing ever happened. But when you come to a fine point, and that's where the stress is on a piece of glass. So you take that fine point, like a little wheel cutting, diamond cutting, glass cutting tool, and you score that glass in that straight line in a very narrow band there, and then hit it with a hammer. It's going to shatter on that line. So that's really what happens with steel. It's the same thing. So if you look at this bit, the next time I pull it out and come back for the next cut. Thank you, my love. She brought me a bagel because she's just a sweetheart. If you look at this bit, I have made a rounded bit. It is about 1/4 of an inch wide, and when I get to the end of the cut, it rounds it. So it is. It doesn't go to a sharp point and then stop. You want it to kind of like going up a ramp. You know, it's like a wall. When you're running a car down the road and you smack into a Jersey barrier, it stops you. You take that same Jersey barrier and set it on its edge, and then it's a ramp. It will launch you. And that's really what you want it to do. It transfers the stress of that shock down the shaft farther. Now, the next step with that shaft would be where I welded it. Now, I got a lot of people saying, you should have preheated that. Well, let me tell you something. Preheating up to about 400 degrees. That plate and that shaft was about 400 degrees, 350, 400 degrees. And the reason I know that is because I got it hot. When I welded that in a video yesterday, I was not happy with it at all. I edited some stuff out. Now here's the shaft. You can see that bit is... You see how rounded that bit is before I make my next my next run. I went to bed that night and I thought, that thing is not as straight as I would like it to be. What's my best bet to straighten out this plate so that it runs true? So what I did was I came home. I came back to the farm after sleeping all night, and I went into the shop and I cut the shaft back off. And I cut the shaft back off. Now, that shaft wasn't really entirely tight on that plate. It wasn't as tight as I'd have liked it, but there was enough wiggle room there, and it would hold enough that I could put it in the lathe and then run the lathe and set that plate so it was true when the lathe spun at about 300 RPMs. 300 RPMs is somewhere around where that rotor spins. I got all the wobble out of it, and then I went and I tacked it up, and I tacked it on the front and the back side, and then I welded it. Now, just the tacking holds it in place so that it doesn't wobble, and we actually have that thing in now. That rotor is in. We're just putting, we got tired last night, so we just quit, but I'm putting the bands on this morning, the rest of them, and we'll fire the bad boy up and see how it goes. I will be purchasing a new rotor. Now, the reason I did this was because I can't get a rotor within a week. All right? It just isn't, it'll take me a week to get it. I need this thing now. So, a day, 2 days worth of working on that off and on, little in the morning, little in the evening, mowing hay all day, and other things will really make the difference. I'll be able to get some work done. So, as far as that shaft is concerned, will it last? Will it won't last? I don't know. Do I think it's going to last? Yes, I actually do think it's going to last. But I'm going to purchase a new one, and I'm going to put that sucker on. I'm going to put that sucker on the shelf, so the next time this thing breaks, I just slap the new one in. It only takes a couple hours to take the old one out and put the new one in. So there you go. Then Bob's your uncle. Now, I'm kind of hopeful that this stainless steel is going to come through for me as a higher shock resistant shaft, and I never have to worry about it again. I mean, when I go down to do the straw job next year, it's probably still going to be functioning on there. We'll see, because I got a lot to do yet. I got corn fodder and a bunch of second cut. Now, corn fodder's tough on these things. And when I say tough on it, when you plug the Krone baler up it has this incredible problem. It plugs and it ratchets. It goes bang, 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 bang at a pretty high rate of speed, which causes the chain to hammer on that. And that's what breaks it. So I should know pretty quickly how long it's going to be how long it is going to last. And now I've got noise. How long it's going to last before the end of this year. Now, maybe the new one has an updated system. I'm hoping it would just be a 1/4 inch thicker shaft, because I'm pretty sure that little bit more steel would stop this problem or prolong it to the point where I'm not getting 15,000 bales out of it. I'm getting more than 15,000 bales out of it. It's just we're going harder and pushing it harder and just doing a shit ton more than we normally would. That baler has already exceeded what we would normally do in a full year. And quite honestly, this would technically be the 4th rotor that I've put into this baler. The first rotor, not the third one. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this would be the 4th one. The first one I crushed, so I didn't keep it, or I would have just cut the end off and stuffed that in there. The second one, what did I do to the second one? Second one was broken. I broke the shaft. This is actually the one I'm rebuilding, is the second one. The third one I just took out, and that is laying there. And then this repaired one would technically be the 4th one that goes in there. So it's just, it's one of these things. If you don't run them, they don't break. And I don't fault Krone at all for this. Krone has been just an amazing piece of equipment. I mean, to be honest with you, these brakes are not major breakdowns. They're just minor, normal wear and tear kind of stuff. This is an annoying one because it didn't really shut us down because I got 2 other balers. But it's just one of these things like, why is this? And then I got to take the time to fix it, which I have to get that other one on order. I really do, and I should probably order it today because, why not? And then it'll be on the shelf because I got Cody's baler has one. The newer baler has one that's never been replaced, and that sucker's closing in over, that's got to be, I don't know how many bales are on that thing. There's got to be over 30,000 bales on that baler in 2 years. Yeah, I'm thinking so. I'm going to have to go look how many bales are actually on that thing. But, the balers are singing along. We did such an incredible job last winter, maintenance-wise, as far as the knotters and the VFS and the understanding of the VFS. The older baler will need to have the VFS shaft removed. Yeah, there's bushing in the VFS that needs to be replaced, and it's okay, but it's not going to make it another year without causing me an ass ache. So it'll cost a couple $1,000s to get that thing up and running. I do want to change possibly one more of the stuffer tines, and I also have to replace the bearings again in that thing because we're closing in on the 12,000 bale mark, and you don't get 2 years out of those things. If you're running 15,000 bales a year out of it, if it's straw, you can go probably to 25,000 bales, but this heavy hay, it's wearing those bearings. And what happens is the outer case breaks, and then that bearing comes off, and then it goes chirp, 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 chirp every time it's stuffing. So, yeah, that's about where it's at. So, anyways, wish this shaft luck. I mean, I know there's some machinists out there that were looking at this and saying, oh, you need to watch A-Bomb 79. Well, yeah, I don't have a problem with A-Bomb. He does this every single day. He knows more about this than I'll ever know. He's forgotten more about this job, this turning of metal, than I will ever know, ever in my lifetime, because it's his job. It's what he does for a living. I know enough to be dangerous. That's what I tell everybody. I know enough to be dangerous. I know enough to get the machine up and running. And I know somebody else had asked, how did I cut the key shaft? Well, for some reason, and I'm not going to complain too loudly, but GoPro did not record the milling machine process. I have a milling machine that sits right next to this thing, and I milled a new key shaft. And if you know anything about stainless steel, you cannot turn it fast. It has to turn slowly. It will smear. It will break bits. It will do things that you don't want it to do. So the slower you turn this, because I believe it's the nickel content in it is high, and like if you were to go and grind on nickel, a nickel, it would smear. It would just smear. It wouldn't really cut it off with like a grinding wheel or whatnot. So you have to really go slow. And now I'm getting down to it with this cutting it, and you see my caliper there. That is set to the size that the original shaft is. And yeah, so I'm actually going to fix the other shaft as well with this if it works. So I'll have a brand new one and another used one that's been repaired. But anyhow, I'm going to let you go. Thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe for more. And new videos coming out tomorrow. I'm going to put these bands on and hit the field today.